Hi, welcome to Pompey Talk in partnership with Giant Leap. I'm joined on the sofa today by Neil Allen and Jordan Cross. We're going to discuss the 3-0 win over Crawley. Neil, do you want to kick us off? Good win, wasn't it?
Fantastic, really good performance. It was a lovely upbeat feel around Pompey Park on Saturday. The first half, some of the best football they've played this season. Second half, Crawley came into it a bit more, but Pompey were always in control. So many good performances. And there's a Carl Bennett loving as well, so everyone's smiling.
Bennett, the standout for you, Jordan?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Just from the outset, really. I mean, there were a lot of good performances all over the pitch. The tempo was really set in the first half, and that was a key factor that's been missing at times this season. But just the way the Pompey attacked down both flanks, Davies was excellent. Ender Stevens and his interplay with Bennett was crucial. I mean, there was a few balls flying across the box before the second goal. Doyle again dominant, comfortable at the back largely, but Bennett was the pick-em for me, just for his attacking endeavour. But even in the second half, we saw him tracking back, putting tackles in, and obviously Pompey fans love to see that from one of the attacking players when they're running back 40 yards and putting tackles in on the Crawley players. And it was good to see the fans singing his name as well, given what's happened with Cole so far this season.
Just on Bennett, Neil, what do you think's changed for him then in recent weeks? Because has he just found that little bit of extra form, or is it
he's playing
fitness? Is it confidence?
He's not fitness. He's playing a bit better, but he's got 7 or 8 assists as well. And I remember even the Leyton Orient game where he definitely got 1 assist. You can say 2 for the Evans own goal, whatever you want to call it.
He says it's 2, doesn't he?
He claims it's 2, yeah, he's having 2. But even after that game, some fans were saying drop him. You think,
he still hasn't convinced everyone, has he?
Exactly.
I still find this strange. We've spoken about this on numerous occasions.
And some people will never be convinced. Some people have made up their mind, even in the aftermath on Twitter of Saturday's performance. Some chap came on and said, I'm not convinced by Bennett, he's awful. And people sort of leapt on him then, really.
Wow.
Yeah, and he was giving his honest opinion, to be fair. He wasn't trying to cause trouble. But he's a really creative player, the most creative player Pompey have got at present. And I don't know, some people just can't quite see that. They made up their mind early on, but I've read people saying his work rate's phenomenal. Yeah. And he does give everything. So, don't know, I was never a big fan of Benjani, and I was never a fan of Nugent. You were a fan of Nugent, weren't you? So
yeah.
It's just different opinions, isn't it? That's what it was. So I don't know, but some people will never be convinced.
I mean, I'm a fan. I like him.
I think he gives you something massively different to what
he's
a lot
honest
of
enough
people
to say that
do,
he's a confidence player, and that's refreshing of him to come out and say that. But you don't call a left back a confidence player. If a left back's short on confidence, they just can be a solid left back still and dob a ball down the line, and people don't pick up on that. But where he's asked to do these things and create openings, it gets focused on more, but he's doing it. I mean, the ball at Leyton Orient when he put through for Evans,
slide rule perfection, wasn't it? Yeah.
I really enjoy watching players do things like that,
Yeah.
because it was the timing and the weight of the pass, and I think I enjoy seeing that as much as a goal being smashed in from 30 yards in many ways, really, to see that the creativity, and he brings that to the table. It doesn't always work, but he'll keep knocking the door. I think he offers a lot, and I mean, the esteem he's held in by Paul Cook is certainly a player that he was always going to be one of the first two or three players down on the team sheet.
Okay, moving on. Mark McNulty, another fine performance, wasn't it, from him? Seems to be reading between the lines. He's by the time we may have finished this little chat, he may be confirmed as staying at some point, certainly over the next couple of days, mightn't he? But he's made a big difference, hasn't he? Again?
He has, and it was the way he took that goal. He had a bit of time, but he was very calm, composed, didn't snatch at it. He's just a quality player. His 6 goals will testify at this level so far. And the previous match was his poorest yet against Luton, but he's come back from that, and it's so crucial that Pompey keep him, and they will be keeping him as well. So that's an important one. And obviously Clarkson will be staying as well.
Are either of you a bit surprised that McNulty is maybe not a League One or even a Championship side?
Because he's the one that could make the difference for me this season. He is above the League 2 level. And the fact he was a top goal scorer at Sheffield United, and they were allowing him to come here, perhaps there's something that's happened that we don't quite know about. It's not been publicised, between the manager and player. I mean, we can speculate about that, but it's if it's Sheffield United's loss, it's certainly Pompey's gain, and he's happy. He's enjoying himself. He's settled in. He lives in Whiteley now with his partner, and he's very comfortable. And he gives you goals and assists as well, doesn't he? He's someone that can do that number 10 sort of role.
The thing is, I can't understand. normally you can see a player's weakness and why a manager might not think he might not fit into a team in a higher level. I can't see why he would not necessarily be seen as one who could play at a high level.
It's all different reasons. Obviously, Atkins might fancy Sharp over him. And then again, that's sort of that's a boost for Pompey. All things happen in football. We know that it's not necessarily about ability, is it? There's all different factors that come into play and circumstances that come up. Players move on, and perhaps he didn't do so well. But I know he's quite. If you see the comments on the Sheffield Star from what they think of McNulty, they certainly want to see him stay. But all the time he's here, the fans are enjoying him.
Just generally to finish off, form's decent at the minute, isn't it? They had that little blip over Christmas. Probably a bit unlucky, I thought, to only take the one point from those 2 games, but they've sort of stormed back a bit, haven't they, with that victory over Crawley?
Yeah.
Now you're looking for them to go on again. So.
They're unfortunate, weren't they? Leighton Orient, and in the end, Leighton Orient were hanging on for their victory, weren't they? And Pompey should have got. Well, Pompey shot themselves in the foot, didn't they? That game, because they were in the lead and dominant. And then Luton, they played well enough. They just couldn't find a way through a side who had 1 shot on target all game, didn't they? And no corners. So that reflects that game and the frustration there. So they've played well for a while now. They've learned how to break teams down in general. So many players now are performing, aren't they? You just look in the morning. Stevens, Doyle, Davies has been in form all season. Clark's come in and done well. Webster, Danny Hollands is winning people over, it seems, as well, with a consistent run. Evans has been immense last 2 months. McNulty, Bennett, Lavery. On the bench, you've got Tollett creating goals, Roberts, McGurk.
You just think they're going to get stronger as the season goes on. I just think Pompey really, they haven't really hit their straps yet, and I think they will do over the second half of the season. And what was important at the weekend was to get the goal in the 13th minute as well, wasn't it? That really kind of opened things up for Pompey and Crawley. Even though they didn't exactly fly out the blocks in reply, they have to kind of be a bit more expansive, and it creates a lot of space for Pompey to exploit. So hopefully, they've spoken about the fact that they're working on this now, and hopefully they can pull the teams out, and the fullbacks, the way they operate, are quite important, and they hopefully create bits of space to get behind teams. So hopefully it continues over the second half of the campaign. I'm as confident as ever that Pompey will be going up.
Thanks, gents. Thanks for joining us today. This has been Pompey Talk in partnership with Giant Leap. We'll see you again soon.